And then you should get me a new hat. See, I do it just for the fact that I know I have to talk about it. So that's why I do it. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Renegade Roundtable. I am Jeff Kirby. We got Caleb with us.
What's up, y'all?
We also got Stone with us. You just can't see her face.
Hi.
But you can hear her voice. We already got a comment. Michael's saying he already wants to punch someone. Probably me.
What's the title of the episode?
Should be...
What is it?
Should Steelers consider benching Ben Roethlisberger?
Yo, I'm already mad too. What?
I'm
leaving. I'm leaving.
I did that for a reason.
I'm leaving.
And then Marcus says, "Yo, what's up?"
Marcus.
Obviously, we have a lot to get to.
You need
Michael
help.
says, "Take control away from Kirby."
You need Jesus or
That-
Optimus
well,
Prime or
probably-
somebody. I don't know. You need guidance.
Penguin Jesus.
Penguin Jesus is my homie.
Michael says, "Take control away from Kirby." Well, probably.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty much. What's already 5 seconds in, we're running a poll. Should we take control away from me from everything?
Wait, before we get into the show, can we just talk about how I'm going to be the quarterback over Andy Dalton? Can we all just discuss that?
Yes.
No
Everyone
comment.
who voted for Andy Dalton, you're fake. I want you to unfollow me from Twitter. We're not associates anymore. Get out.
Yeah, no comment.
Michael says Caleb is the captain now.
Caleb is the captain now,
I got this.
even though he's fake because he voted for Andy Dalton, but whatever.
Okay, I have legitimate reasons why I voted for Andy Dalton, okay? And I thought
Because
it
you
through.
want a second book? You're being
Because if
really
you-
selfish.
Because our O-line is going to kill Ben Roethlisberger, okay? Our line would totally kill any – I'm afraid they're going to kill Ben, okay? So what if they kill you and we can't get the
I'm
second pick?
small. I'll just slide under their legs and stuff. It'll be really
It's
cool.
usually not how that works. It's usually a higher chance of death the smaller you are. you seen Ryan Switzer play?
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. It is what it is,
Okay.
The
I
slippery
stand by
wizard.
my vote.
The slippery wizard that is also known as Stone at quarterback. There is that.
Fake, and you guys cannot tell me otherwise. Caleb's fake.
Well-
He's a fake robot.
For those that don't know what in the absolute hell we are talking about, we ran a poll, we ran it last week on the Renegade Roundtable, Twitter at Renegade_table. Go follow us. Shameless plug. Who would you rather play, or who would you rather have play quarterback for the Steelers in 2022? Stone or Andy Dalton?
What was the score?
83% said Stone.
How many votes do we have?
155.
The rest of y'all are fake. I want you to unfollow me. If I could find out who you were, I would honestly not probably do anything. But the point is,
You just took all of your violence cards away. They just
you're fake.
they just got taken away from you.
I can't say it I can't say it here. My FBI agent is watching me. I can't say it because then it's too much.
And to the 26 people who voted for Andy Dalton, I appreciate your thinking. We think on the same page.
Caleb.
Shout out to y'all.
We're off to a rockin' hot
Get
start
out.
here.
Get out. Caleb is not the captain. Caleb is whatever.
So
He's a whatever.
Caleb, I have a question for you.
Fire away.
Are you proud of me at the fact that I now own a Pirates hat?
Absolutely.
In
We
fact,
are family,
not
baby.
only do I
Let's go
have
Buccos.
one, but I have two.
Let's go Buccos.
So
You picked some good hats too.
here's the story about this hat. So it was like a bag it was like a bag surprise thing. I don't know what they exactly called it. It came in one of these little bags. And it was like a surprise. You pay $20 and you get a surprise hat. And I got this one in mine. I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's it was definitely not the worst one I've seen because I saw someone get an all black one and I'm like, yeah, I would have been pissed. And then my friend Paul, he got a Little League World Series one, the all yellow one with a nice patch on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh damn, I'm pissed because I wanted that one. But but this one was cool. I wore this today for a little bit, and then obviously I got the one with the Clemente stars.
Sorry, we are not talking about your back to school shopping spree.
No, we're talking about the Pirates. I absolutely love the Thursday night military appreciation hat that you have on, that green one there.
Yeah.
I actually got one at I didn't buy one, but I got one as the giveaway hat back in 2019. And I probably wear that hat twice a week. It's a classic looking hat. And then the We Are Family Clemente stripes, you can't go wrong with those. 1979 World Series champions, baby.
But yeah, I got this, and I thought at first I wasn't gonna wear it as much, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will wear it a lot more because it's just one I could just throw on, and it is what it is. When I need kind of a subtle hat, but then I could still rock Pittsburgh too. So
Exactly. Which, speaking of that, though, what was your experience at the best ballpark in the world? What'd you think of it?
The view was insane.
View is what makes it the best ballpark.
I knew the view was going to be insane, but I had to see it with my own two eyes, and seeing it was incredible. And I got to see a Pirates win. I was happy about that.
Those are rare.
Michael said the audacity to let Kirby name this episode.
Yeah, because you didn't even put a picture up of me, and so now we're talking about how that, like, I'm just like a
don't worry,
floating...
I can make that happen.
No, because you're gonna put up something so stupid.
No, I got a picture that you might like.
Jesus Christ.
Also, also for everyone that knows, we will have to take a little bit of a quick intermission at some point, like around 6:30, because Caleb does have to leave a little bit early for work.
Allegedly work.
Yeah, allegedly. That was per a source, but I don't know if that source is necessarily the most trustworthy. So we'll have to find out and see if that actually will be true or not.
We'll be doing our own research into that.
Yeah, I have to go and talk to my own sources to see if they can confirm it with that source. What's up, Zay? I see you. But
to comment though about you mentioning the view. Every time I see someone or hear someone new go there and it's like, wow, this view is incredible. It reminds me like we are truly spoiled. Because I go there like 10, 12 times a year, right? I see that same view. I just think like this is home. This is where my team plays. This is awesome. But then when somebody else is like, wow, this view is awesome, it makes me step back and think like, what? We really do have a really good view. And it would be really nice if we could put a Major League Baseball team there instead of AAA baseball team. But that's a long story.
Yeah, it's getting there, walking down the Clemente Bridge. Fun story real quick is I was going to go to the Heinz Field team shop, and obviously that did not happen because, as I told you, I got there just a little bit too late. As you guys could tell, I'm currently working on getting Stone's picture up so you guys can see Stone here. I'm working on that as we speak, so Here we go.
I don't even want to know what picture you're putting up, like, honestly. I'm so afraid right now.
Do you want me to tell you what it is before? Or do you just want the surprise?
I guess a surprise, but Kirby, if it's stupid, I'm coming to your house and burning your house down. Like, I need you to understand, I am mentally unstable right now.
That's why I am making sure that, there you go. There's the picture. You'll see it here in a moment. I want to see the reaction.
If it's stupid, oh my god! Fun fact, that's like a 4-pound bass that I caught in the pond behind my house. But anyways.
And for everyone that if you don't know the significance of that picture too from earlier this year, then you missed out
I caught a catfish.
A whole lot. Let's just... Hey, a shameless plug. If you need to know if someone is a catfish or not, hit up Stone's DMs.
Hit me up. I got you.
She's going to start a business, Twitter Catfish Incorporated.
Caleb looks so impressed. He's like, I honestly don't even care about this fish right now. Like,
Michael said Kirby's going to catch these hands. Yeah.
Let's get to rolling. Let's get to rolling. While Caleb's here. While Caleb's still not, being El Chapo.
Boom. But let's get right into things. We, as I say, we're 10 minutes in. We haven't gotten into things, but let's get into things. Let's talk about the absolute disaster that we saw on Sunday. Because I think there's a lot of things that are going on with this team that we got to remember. Part of it is there was a significant amount of injuries on this defense. No Bush, no Tuitt, no Hayden, no Tyson Alulu. He's probably out for the year. No Watt. So we're missing a lot of guys. We were missing a lot of key guys this Sunday. But I just want to hear you guys' initial reactions first.
If you say something stupid, oh my god.
Who, me?
Yeah. Like, more stupid than usual.
Well, good thing is we get to wait a little bit on that. I want to hear your guys' reaction.
I want to hear Caleb first. I want to hear Caleb's first.
From the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a disaster. honestly, you two saw, and I was just like sending my list of people that I don't want to ever see play another game for the Steelers.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
I clicked off the game at halftime and went and did other things because I was more excited about the Penguins game on Monday than I was about that Steelers game. I mean,
in your defense, you're a big hockey fan, though.
And
so
in defense, though, Penguins, Pirates, Steelers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm more of a Penguins and Pirates fan. But honestly, though, the offensive line looks like they can't stop anybody. Ben looks like he's going to trip over his own feet, as we saw. Ben looks like he's going to throw to the other team's defensive lineman like Oprah, giving out free stuff. And then they run ridiculous plays on 4th and 10 that go 4 or 5 yards. What else am I supposed to say? The game was a disaster, and the fans tick me off. The fans who don't show up tick me off. I'll just say that. All right, y'all can.
Michael says, blow up the offensive line. Just start there. Give me Banner back.
And Duck. We need to go sign Duck again.
You bring up a question that I saw, and I want to ask you guys this question.
Ben did not trip over his own feet. He laid down to protect himself because the O-line will not protect him. And that's the story that I'm sticking by. So you guys can at me on that.
Well, then. Violence has been chosen today. I'll get to your comment here in a second, Michael, but I want to ask... You know what? I'll get to your comments now because I feel like this question is going to roll into...
I'll get to your comments now.
Michael says, I am not judging Ben's skill level right now. Is he elite still? No. Is he washed? How can we tell? I want to see what Ben can do when he doesn't need to throw the ball within 2.3 seconds. Yeah, because let me ask you guys a question here. Which Steelers offense would you rather have? The 2019 Duck Hodges, or with 2019 offense with Duck Hodges, James Conner, Benny Snell, and a formidable, wow, I can't speak, offensive line, or this year's team with Ben Roethlisberger, Najee Harris, but still in the worst offensive line in football. Because we saw that offense in 2019 was bottom tier.
Kirby, what was your question?
Who would you rather have? This was a question I saw on Twitter, and I wanted to ask you. Who would you rather have? Or the question was, which Steelers offense would you rather have?
Okay.
2019's offense with Duck Hodges, James Conner, Benny Snell, and a good offensive line or above average offensive line? Or the 2021 offense where you get Ben Roethlisberger, Najee Harris, or the worst offensive line of football?
Oh, the Duck Hodges line.
Well, the reason why I asked that is I actually saw some people saying they would still prefer this offense, and I was drunk. I thought they were off some Jaeger or off some tequila or something. But
Here's my thing with what you're saying. Like, it's so complicated. It's not that easy to just say, okay, it's this one person. Oh, it's this one Oh, it's this one key ingredient. The whole thing was trash. The whole thing across the board. And that's not saying that they can't play football individually, but whatever they're doing out there, it's like they think that they're playing by themselves, and they're just like not aware that this is a team sport whatsoever.
And another thing to add is the defense had nothing to do with the offense had nothing to do with why this game was so bad. Like, Steeler football is all about defense. Okay, and when we're missing two very key players on the defense, and we're gonna give Burrow all the time in the world to find his college teammate, we couldn't stop that. So if we can't stop, our biggest strength is not there, and then our mediocre defense that gets dragged along, or our mediocre offense that just gets dragged along, isn't performing, it's kind of just gonna be a disaster right from the beginning. And to be completely honest, I picked the Bengals to win this game.
Oh my God.
I mean,
you're not wrong, though. Stop.
Here's the thing, though, too, and Caleb just mentioned about the defenses. We were without T.J. Watt, and we were without Alex Highsmith. So our two key pass rushers were both hurt. They did not play. So, and that's pretty much what feels like the strength of this team was being able to get to the quarterback. And with both your big guys not being able to play, I saw a comparison too. It was this defense without Watt and Highsmith and Tyson Alualu would be in comparison to the 2008 defense being without James Harrison, Brett Kiesel, and Casey Hampton, which is interesting because, including there too, one of the key their biggest strength was being able to get to the quarterback. Now, obviously, yes, they had Troy Polamalu and they had still a very nice secondary, but it was still the comparison of the fact that, again, you don't have your big pass rushing guys. Melvin Ingram, this is why you sign a guy like Melvin Ingram, but you can't expect him to go out there and just dominate and
he's more of a rotation guy to me. Like, yeah. I would put Melvin Ingram in for plays to give somebody a break. Right. I wouldn't rely on him heavily for the whole game.
Yeah, and that's exactly why you sign a guy like that. And it's nice to be able to have a guy that you could rotate in and still be able to trust that he could go and make a play. Don't get me wrong, Melvin Ingram's made some plays already for us this year.
Yeah.
But he's not that guy that he was with the Chargers where you can trust him to go out there and just and wreak havoc. It's just not the case. And it was just annoying at the fact that they were able to run. It seemed like they were able to run all over us as well. They rushed for 96 yards, but it seemed like it was a whole lot more. It seemed like at times Joe Mixon was the second coming of Barry Sanders, which was very annoying. They averaged 4 yards a carry, which is somewhat normal. Like, that's right in that normal range, but it's still for us. It was just kind of annoying because they basically doubled us in rushing. In fact, I think they did. And then on top of that, 2 turnovers. Those 2 interceptions were, especially that second one. That second one, I didn't know what in the absolute hell that was. I watched that, on numerous occasions. I said, what in the absolute hell were you looking at? There was 4 to 5 guys right in that area. I really thought a blind cat could have made a better play than that. But yet again, who knows?
Baker Mayfield could have made a better play than that.
Stop it, Caleb. You're right. But I think
I was comparing Baker Mayfield to a blind cat.
No, I know. I liked it. It was hilarious. It really was. I'm going to use it. My biggest problem, and this is on topic, but also not at the same time, kind of. I see this being thrown around a lot. Ben's washed. Ben's washed. Ben's washed. You guys are using that, not you guys, but Twitter is using that term very loosely. I don't think that he's washed. You can't downplay what he's capable of and saying that he's not a good quarterback. Yes, he's older. Yes, he's not in the same position he used to be. But to say he's washed, I feel like you're really kind of erasing everything that he's not only done, but the things that he can still do. And it's just should he retire? I fully agree. This should be his last season. I'm 100% on board with that. But to say he's washed is that's a bit extreme. You can't put all of this on him. This is not all his fault. That interception was definitely, especially the second one, that was 100% his fault. I agree. But to sit here and try to throw him under the bus, we had so many problems. So many problems. You know
what's ironic is you just mentioned that whole wash thing. Damian Woody of ESPN literally 3 hours ago said that, I got a thing on ESPN that says, Woody, Big Ben is washed.
Stop saying washed, because and maybe it's just me, when I hear somebody's washed, to me that's they're garbage. They're garbage. I don't want them anywhere near my team. They're trash. They can't complete any kind of plays. Yada yada yada. And I don't think that's true for Ben. I'm sorry, but I don't. And if you have a problem with that, then at me on Twitter. I don't care.
Here's how we got to look at this as well, too. And we have to ask ourselves this question of, okay, yes, we understand Ben Roethlisberger. We all know the elbow history, whatever. But if we ask ourselves, okay, how would this Ben Roethlisberger, 2021 Ben Roethlisberger look behind maybe the offensive line of 2018 or 2017. I'm not talking about the weapons. I'm not talking about, Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, and all that.
Yeah, the line.
If you could switch out, just take that offensive line where Big Al was actually, he was playing a decent left tackle at the time. Ramon Foster, Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro. You could put in you could sub out Marcus Gilbert or Chris Hubbard, one of the two at right tackle. It doesn't matter. If if you could switch that out, how would this offense look? And I think, honestly, this offense would look a whole lot better. Najee Harris would be able to go out and rush the way he would actually have a decent, he would have a good size hole to run in. And we saw when he can get a hole, he can do damage. And then on top of that, Najee Harris is already making an impact in the pass game. And then on top of that, you could trust your wide receivers, because in that case, now that's going to spread the offense out. Now you're going to keep defenses on their toes, which is from about 2014 to 2018. That's what this team was able to do. When you had a guy like Le'Veon Bell who you could do both, Najee Harris is able to do similar things. You could trust him to rush the football, and then he could catch out of the backfield. You got quality wide receivers all around. It's just a matter of there's no time. I mean, you look at this, and let me pull this up again.
How many plays did we open up with that got penalties called to them after Najee started getting that confidence, and we were doing decent, and it was penalty, and it was like, you're just knocking that down. You're killing that confidence right out of the gate.
So another thing too is, Michael says, how about we let Najee just get a positive gain without making a holding call?
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was at watching the game. Is I literally said that. I'm saying, can we please go a play where we gain maybe 4 to 5 yards without having a penalty? I mean, my God, it was, and part of it too is just this offensive line. It makes all of us want to pull our damn hair out. And here's this interesting stat, and I want us to all look at this. Ben Roethlisberger led the league last year in how quickly he got rid of the ball at 2.3 seconds per throw. We all know that. He came into Sunday's game at 2.35 seconds, so he gained 0.05 seconds to throw. Against the Bengals, that dropped to 2.28, and Cincinnati still got 4 sacks and 17 pressures. How is that even, how? I understand that there's a difference between having a bad offensive line, but I don't get how you could be that bad. How can you be that terrible? I mean, I get it too. And I've preached this a million times, saying it's going to take time to gel, and I understand it's frustrating at the fact that we want this to click right now because we want to win another one for Ben before he goes, but it's just not going to happen with this offensive line, and I think there's just not going to be enough time, and I think there's not enough patience.
I'm gonna stop you right here for just a second, because I like this. I'm about to get really annoyed with. I think this is your friend, and I'm about to get really annoyed with him. I'm not in the mood for this today, so I'm not. I'm really not.
Well, yeah.
I like normally I don't mind, but I'm really not. Like, we're trying to talk sports right now, and about Pittsburgh sports, and this isn't it. Like, I'm not cool with it. So
yeah, I mean, let's be honest, Jay. I know I'm probably about to see you here. What's ironic is I'm about to go see him after this, but today would not be the day. I'll just keep it at that. But
like no disrespect. He normally is in the comments, cut it up with us, and that's fine. That's cool. But like,
all right, I'll just say just don't worry about it, and then
carry on. It's fine. Carry on. Go ahead.
One thing too, I want to go back. I think I mentioned this last week in the show that it was either last week or 2 weeks ago when we were. I don't know if when I was on by myself or it was with you guys, but I mentioned the play differential that we have gone through the first 2 weeks, where I thought that was very concerning. So Pittsburgh ran 77 total plays. Cincinnati ran 42, and you still lost by 2 touchdowns. How? How do you allow to score? What is it? 35 more plays? I think, if my math is correct. Yes, I'm not a math major, but I think that's how much it is. And you were able to, in total yards, you were able to outgain them in total yards, but yet. I don't get this. You were 9 of 19 on 3rd down, 0 of 2 on 4th down. They outgained you in yards per play, but it's not by too much. But the one stat that was interesting is the fact that Ben only averaged 5.5 yards per throw.
It's the same old Steelers inability to convert in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
This has been something that we have seen for years now, so it should be no surprise to us.
And then if you watch too, it comes back to this O-line. They're not protecting him. I mean, he's falling. How many times did you watch him fall on that elbow? The one that we're already concerned about. And so it's like we're already hanging on by a thread. Where we're watching his last. He's not going to be here next season. And
he's not going to be here by the end of this season.
Because he's going to end up murdered.
He's gonna end up getting hurt.
Yeah, and that's what. So he's not able to even throw the ball because he's getting pummeled into the ground repeatedly.
And, I mean, look at the looks on his face too. He's in pain. He's not enjoying this.
Grimacing.
There's no way he comes back next year.
No.
And honestly, and I think I said this too, and I forgot how you guys reacted, but I think a lot of people would agree with me now. I said, unless Ben Roethlisberger somehow came out here throwing like an MVP quarterback, then if he somehow, some way came back next year, I would be absolutely livid because all that's doing is setting us back.
I don't think he should come back next year, and that's not, like I said, I don't think he's washed or anything, but I think it's time to hang it up. And just because he's not the same person he was a couple of years ago because of everything he's been through, because of his age, because of, just there's so many reasons. And I think he should hang it up before, like Caleb's saying, he's out there getting murdered. And it's time to stop because you want to live your best life with your family. And he's not going to be able to at this rate. I mean, they're destroying him every game.
Yeah, I agree. And it's and one thing that I've made the comparison, or actually I don't think I've made this comparison. I've said this to other people, but not on the show, is when I talked about this team going back to that 2018 that won the Super Bowl, that offensive line wasn't good at all. In fact, that was one of the biggest issues going into that season was the offensive line being bad. Now, understandably, Big Ben was a whole lot younger. He's able to move around, and he's able to put zip on the ball and all that. And that's another thing too is we saw some deep balls. Now, there were some times where Ben Roethlisberger did miss some throws that were crucial, but yet again, every quarterback going to do that. But you do have to take that into consideration somewhat. There was a couple of plays where Chase Claypool, I noticed, did not turn his head around. And it was a crucial, I think, third down play where if he turns his head around, it's an easy first down, but he just doesn't turn his head around, and then there's another punt.
You got to remember, too, Juju was banged up. Claypool looked like he had cramps the entire game and looked like he didn't look like himself. Deontay Johnson was gone. So we have James Washington out there, and then we have, Eric Ebron, who can't catch anything.
Butterfingers. I do not want to see him next season. I don't. I do not want to see him next season.
Ray McLeod, who can't even catch a punt.
Yeah.
I understand it's two completely different things, but every time he lines up there to, get a kickoff or a punt, it's like, how is he going to muff this time? And then we got him out there catching. Yeah. I mean, I like the guy. He's a cool dude, but he can't catch a football. Eric Ebron, I wouldn't even wish Eric Ebron on the Browns next year.
Oh.
You know what's done? I just saw your comment, what you said about Andrew Luck, and he got beat the bleep up.
Yeah.
You know what's actually the comparison I've made for that exact situation? It's the situation Joe Burrow is in. Because Joe Burrow going into that season, we all know that their offensive line is not good, and obviously there was a lot of people, including me, that believe that he should have went with, okay, I'll do this for you, Oregon offensive tackle Penei Sewell, and they didn't. They have to go with Jamar Chase, which again burned us for 2 touchdowns as well. Annoying. He finally learned how to catch an NFL football, but that's how I compared it. Was he's already had his knee tore up once. You continuously have that happen. Joe Burrow will end up being the next coming of Andrew Luck. Maybe not the same kind of success, but the same similar situation as well. Obviously, yeah, we all know you guys don't need another tight end. You guys already have like $1 billion, but
I think that, and it's not making excuses, and I know that's what it's gonna sound like, but it's kind of just speaking on the situation that happened for us last game. We had all those injuries, we had all these people out. Our O-line was not. We keep saying we're waiting for them to gel, and they weren't. They were not on the same page. I mean, you could see it. You could see when a play happened. Like, it would just fall apart. Everyone was doing something different, and it's like, did you not practice at all?
I mean, going back to the game against the Raiders, and I know you guys all saw this as well. I'll say this, and then we'll take a quick break so we can let Caleb go, so he can head to work. But we made the comparison, or you saw the video where it was 7 Steelers blocking 4 Raiders players, and I know I'm going back 2 weeks ago, but that's a perfect example of how this offensive line has looked, and how did that result in a sack? How does that even work out?
And it's like they couldn't figure out. Here's where I'm like vastly confused. And I asked DJ, because he played football, and so I asked him from a player standpoint. I want to say they would block for Ben, so Ben actually could complete a throw. Well, I'm saying this is because we had this conversation right after the game.
I'm messing with you.
They would actually protect Ben, and he could get a beautiful pass off, but then they wouldn't protect anybody else. They were like, well, the play's over, we can sit down now. And it's like, well, your job's not done. It's like they couldn't figure out what they were supposed to do. Like they thought they only had to do one thing. And it's, well, no, you're not done yet. The play's not over. It's not dead.
Yeah. All right. Take a quick second break, so we'll let Caleb go, get everything ready, and then then Jay brings up a question that actually also brings into a question that Andrew Filipponi asked earlier, or said on Twitter, and I want your guys' opinion. So give us a couple seconds and we'll be right back.
See y'all.
We're good. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, there we go. All right, welcome back, everyone. Obviously, we had to let Caleb go, but me and Stone are back. Obviously, you just get to see me talk, and then you get to hear her talk, but then you also see her holding a catfish as well, or a bass.
That's a bass.
A bass. I had to correct myself. But I don't know if you saw this earlier, because Justin brings up the point of you got a bad offensive line, and it doesn't really matter who your quarterback is. And Ben is obviously older, so those hits are going to hurt more. Andrew Filipponi from 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh, everyone knows him, doesn't seem to like him a lot, but he came out on a tweet and said, a franchise quarterback is far more valuable than an offensive line. No Steeler fan ever said, we didn't win between Bradshaw and Ben because we couldn't find a good line. Look at Ben's O-lines in 2008 and 2010. The last 2 trips to the Super Bowl, not good.
I don't agree with that. Based off of kind of what Justin said just now. I mean, if your O-line is non-existent, which is pretty much what ours was last game. I'm not saying forever because I don't know. But they were non-existent. You could put anybody back there and they're not going to perform well just because they don't have the ability to perform well. They don't have that chance.
Right. The only quarterback that I could possibly remotely even having the slightest chance of really being able to do something with that is Lamar Jackson, only because that man is an absolute wizard. And even that, we've seen at times he sometimes falls into his own mistakes as well, trying to run the ball too much. But again, I saw that and I was like, I completely disagree. And in fact, I quoted that last night, or I even said something about it, and someone said I was an absolute clown for me saying it. But I'm like, all right, whatever.
Of course, somebody did.
Yet again, I seem to ruffle people's feathers now, but that's a different story for a different day. But the reason why I disagree with that is because you look, and we just had this discussion earlier on the show. If you switch out, if you could get even a middle of the road offensive line, it doesn't have to be a San Francisco 49ers offensive line where they're just absolutely phenomenal, or a Tampa Bay offensive line. If you could get a middle of the road offensive line, that does your offense wonders, because now that you could open up the playbook a little bit more. You have the run game. You're going to be able to run sets up the pass. The pass will set up the run and all that. We all know this because we saw that for a 5-year span with a good offensive line. Yet again, they were one of the top offensive lines in the NFL during those times. But and when you look at the stat that I'm about to tell you, is where the Steelers have 159 rushing yards through 3 games, where you only average 53 rushing yards per game, which is last in the NFL. I mean, it goes back to a thought process that I had during the draft, when everyone is saying, draft Najee, he's going to fix our run game. He's going to fix our run game. No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. How it works is you want to get a good run game, you build your offensive lineup. The games are won and lost in the trenches. Ask any person who is big into, or ask any person whoever's coached football or is around the game of football. They will always tell you the game is won and lost in the trenches. And that's where people need to understand, and that's why I was preaching all along. Draft an offensive lineman in a deep class where, yes, I understand he's still a rookie, but that rookie is going to be a whole lot better than somewhere down the line in the draft for all we saw, because this draft class for tackles and guards were very deep.
I also don't understand why, we can argue about the draft, and I don't mean argue. We can discuss what happened in the draft all day long, and that's fine. But this whole time, why didn't we work on that? Why didn't we? Because there are players out there who have talent. There are. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like they don't. But there's something that's not clicking out there for some reason. And I don't know where the disconnect is. I don't know if it's, you can sit here and say it's because they're young. It's because they're rookies. Okay, that excuse is only going to last for so long. Well, at some point in time, you have to come to practice and learn what you're doing. And I feel like they're not learning what they're supposed to be doing for whatever reason.
Well, part of it too, and here's something and I actually just had this discussion. I got asked this question earlier this week. It was actually on Sunday, where I again made the comment of saying that I would have preferred us to draft offensive line. And he said, would you rather draft an offensive line at 24, risking the chance of not getting Najee Harris in the second round? And I said, absolutely. Reason being is I'm also a firm believer that, you can, if you're a decent running back and behind a good offensive line, you're going to do something. You'll look a whole lot better than probably maybe than what you are. And what I mean by that is, and I hate using, I think I did this last week as well, and I'm going to use it again. The 2018 James Conner year. Mm-hmm. That offensive line was good. James Conner went to a damn Pro Bowl that year. Mm-hmm. And now we saw the last couple years, he did not really do all that much. Mm-hmm. And again, that's something that it's a old school way of thinking of, you want to build the run game, you draft the running back. No, because quite frank, you could have got someone like a Javonte Williams in the second round, or
let's be honest. If we had a good O-line, I could go out there and run the ball.
Or Trey Sermon. If you go out and don't get me wrong, I was confused a little bit with the Pat Fryermuth pick at round 2, but then over the course of time, I'm like, okay, I'll grow.
I'm not mad about it. That's the only thing that seemed to pay off right now. I mean, no disrespect to Najee at all, but that's the only thing that seems to be clicking all the way across the board.
Because we saw with Najee, he led the team in rushing or in receiving yards. He had 14 catches for 102 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's in the pass game. He's doing well.
I'll be honest with you. I'm legitimately concerned with the way the O-line is playing that he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
That's a concern of mine.
All right. Here's the question, and here is the reason why I made the title the way it is. And I know, and it ruffled feathers off the jump. From Michael, from you, I know it ruffled feathers for that, but there's a reason why I did that. If Ben Roethlisberger, and I understand we can't sit here and say that it's not, he hasn't done anything wrong or anything like that. We have to put part of this on Ben.
I agree. I think it's everybody's fault.
Right. And that's my thing too. Is real quick before I get to the question, I think Ben Roethlisberger has been turned into a scapegoat for a lot of other issues. We understand that Ben Roethlisberger, he is the quarterback. Part of it is his, there are issues that are partly his fault. Partially, there's something that he can't control. It's not like he's a 25, 26-year-old Ben Roethlisberger where, okay, that pocket collapses. You could trust him to go down. You could trust him to move around in the pocket and make those plays that we know that he can make. We saw that all throughout his career. And I think part of it too is, and Marcus said this too, you got to blame the front office as well. I think part of it, I feel like you might want to blame Mike Tomlin on. I think part of this has to go on coaching.
I think some of the blame, and I stand by this 100%, goes everywhere. I think there's a portion of the blame that falls onto everyone.
And I agree with that as well. And here's the question that I bring, and that why I said, should the Steelers consider benching Ben Roethlisberger? Do you really say this continues on? Saying two more games, this continues to be the same case. Do you really just continue to let Ben Roethlisberger ride this out? Or do you say, maybe it's time? Maybe it's time to, before someone puts his whole body into the grave and puts his career in a grave, do you consider maybe putting someone in like a Dwayne Haskins or a Mason Rudolph? And I said Dwayne Haskins first on purpose, but
I was gonna say yeah.
Well, I mean either or. Do you consider maybe doing that? It's an uncomfortable question.
It is, and it's hard because and any other fan, you have to own up the fact that you feel this way. It's an emotional thing. A lot of us have only ever seen Ben. Like, let's be honest, a lot of us, that's their quarterback.
Me.
So you're emotionally tied to it. So if you put that emotion to the side and he's getting beat like this, here's my thing. If Haskins, because you know me, I'm not getting on the Mason Rudolph train. I'm sorry, but I'm not. He can throw. Yes, he can throw, but he's got concrete shoes. And I'll stand by that 100%. If he could move his feet, I would have more faith in him, but he doesn't. So I would rather see Haskins come out, let Ben sit. And if the O-line can figure it out, bring him out later on in the season when I know that he's going to be protected and his veteran level of thinking will be useful, because right now it doesn't matter how smart he is. It doesn't matter that he can think on his feet. I'm not going to say that he can. Yes, he does make mistakes like everybody else, but he can see things that a rookie quarterback can't see. And if that will come into play later when the O-line is more capable of giving him that time, I would like to see that. But I don't have 100% faith in Haskins or Rudolph. And so it's like, I feel like we're literally stuck in between a rock and a hard place. It's like, well, what do we do?
Yeah. And I think part of it too is, and I'm looking this up right now as we speak, because Ben Roethlisberger's contract is going to come off the books. And obviously you signed TJ, you got that deal done. You're going to be worrying about Minka here soon. You need to really invest into this offensive line in the offseason. You go out and, hell, right now, and I've been preaching this, and I've seen a couple people start to agree as well, is if you could somehow get Taylor Decker from Detroit, because obviously with their situation with the offensive line, he started out the season on IR, and Penei Sewell has started out great for them. So maybe that makes Taylor Decker expendable if you're able to get him. And I think that's a huge start because he's still a young guy-ish. I don't know exactly how old he is, but I know he's still in his 20s. So he's a guy that you could start to build, but he also has experience. And I could trust him at that left tackle spot. And that's a huge start. You got to continue. And who knows? Obviously,
he's 28.
Okay. He's still young-ish. He's still in his 20s, so that's still a guy that you could help start to build around as well. Obviously, Zach Banner, we're hoping to get him back here in the next week or two. He could kick Chucks out of the door.
Yeah.
So now that would help out too. And then you just got to focus on, can you trust Kendrick Green?
It sucks because I know you've seen it because we've talked about it. You can see the potential that he has. But it's like, why can't we get there though? Why can't we up that? Like, why are we not leveling up right now?
Yeah, I think right now.
And I don't know if it's because, like you were saying, like there's so many. My biggest thing is there's so many. I want to say moving pieces, but that's not what I'm looking for. But that's what I'm gonna say. There's so many moving pieces that aren't right, so it's hard to find the biggest problem. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things going on that it's hard to say this is what we need to do first. Because a lot of people are blaming Matt Canada. I know that's another thing. A lot of people are saying fire him. But to me personally, I feel like our O-line is in such shambles. I can't even see him opening up a playbook yet. You know what I mean? Like, is he even able to show us what he has because the O-line isn't performing on basic maneuvers?
Right.
So it's like you can't even question his coaching yet because we're still so early in the season. He's so early on in this career field, and the O-line is so bad that is it him or is it them? I don't know.
And I agree with that. And part of it too, and Super Steeler 1111 makes a good point here, and I agree with that 1,000,000%. He said, you can't really blame Colbert because of great history of drafting. Part of it, yeah, but I think at the same time, you really, I could question that somewhat in a way, but I think they should have went offensive tackle after Harris. Yes, That is where I agree 1,000,000%, and that's where the depth comes in. That's where the depth of the offensive line, where you know that Marquise Pouncey's gone, or Marquise Pouncey is retired. David DeCastro at that time yet was not cut, but you still had questions. People were high on Kevin Dotson, but you still had question marks. Zach Banner, he was coming back from injury, and then you had Chucks, where people were still having questions on him as well.
Those questions have answered themselves, I think, at this point.
Exactly. And you have a guy, you have guys like Creed Humphrey, who won the second round, Liam Eichenberg, who I was really, really high on. Jalen Mayfield, he was a guy I was very high on. I don't think he's had the greatest of starts in Atlanta, but he was a guy I was very high on. There were different guys that you could, if you wanted to go that running back pick, fine, that's great. But you got to really build what's really going to help not only the rushing attack, but the pass game as well. And that's where the offensive line would come in. But again, it seems like a lot of people don't understand that kind of logic and theory. They think
I agree, but my biggest concern now is we can't go back and change that.
Right.
And as much as I hate that, so now we need to figure out what are we going to do now? What is it that needs to be done now? Because I mean, this is our team for the season. That's it. I mean, that's just how it is. I'm sorry, and do with that information what you will. So what needs to happen for someone not to get? I mean, we've already had plenty of injuries, and it's only what, week 4?
Yeah,
we're going into week 4, and we've already had all these injuries. So before somebody has a career-ending injury, what are we gonna do?
So. As I'm looking at this, all right. So after that, the Pat Freiermuth pick, we took Pat Freiermuth. And obviously, again, I questioned it. And I had a friend call of mine, Hunter. He called me and he was kind of questioning that pick too. And you look at guys, there was guys like Creed Humphrey, the center from Oklahoma. He got drafted in the 63rd pick, so that was after. You could have got a guy like Josh Myers, who went to Green Bay. He won the second round. So there were still quality guys that you could have went after in the second round. And let me go in here. I want to look at the third round too, because I'm interested to see who did we take in the third round. I don't. Kendrick Green. Okay, so you actually take an offensive line there from Illinois. So you actually did something there, and then after that, I mean, I'm not going to look more into it, but it's like what you said. You can't go back on what was done, but now you really got to focus on this future. Look at next year. There is a possibility that if this continues on, and this is going to be a very, very, very unpopular opinion, what I'm about to say. I may not be truly all that mad if we ended up with a bad record this year. Reason, and only because I say that, because maybe that will help us get our franchise quarterback later on down the line. But what you need to do, once you get a pick, whatever pick, and you're able to get one of the top tier quarterbacks, that's great. But now you need to do what Super Steeler said, what we should have done with Najee Harris. Make this draft about the offensive line.
Something else that I've noticed too, and I think a lot of it is because Twitter is, still relatively new. A lot of people are saying, they're upset about the possible record that we might have. All teams go through a dead period. Something that they need to remember is, we've been riding on this high for a while. You knew it had to come crashing to a halt at some point in time.
What Mike Tomlin has done in his time is something that you won't see. Where you have a coach where he hasn't been under 500 in his career as being the head coach. Bill Cowher went through some, he had some times where they were not that good. Hell, they had that Super Bowl hangover in 2006 where I forget what they didn't do that well. You have coaches, Green Bay, they've been a franchise where they got lucky. They were able to, they didn't draft. They traded for Brett Favre, and then he has a Hall of Fame career. But then you also draft Aaron Rodgers, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback, which, again, we play on Sunday. Did you hear his comments on what he said on the Pat McAfee show?
No, I saw people sharing the quote, though.
I don't necessarily think Pittsburgh's out of the running for Aaron Rodgers, trading for Aaron Rodgers.
But you know what I could say? I say this because of the O-line. I don't want him to come here. I don't want him to come here because I don't want him to end up looking the way that Ben is looking right now. I don't want that for him because he's not a bad quarterback. And so I don't want him to end up looking like a villain, which is what they're doing to Ben right now. You know what I'm saying? I
think the difference with that is Aaron, he's not Lamar Jackson mobile. He's not one of those guys but he's a guy that he's able to make better plays, and I think he's able to expand things a whole lot better.
But I
get what you mean by that as well.
Yeah.
I think
you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. And I think part of it is Aaron Rodgers he can open things up more because you trust his arm a lot more. You know that his deep ball is still phenomenal. You know that.
But is that going to matter behind this line?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost too risky. It's almost like, do we waste? Not wait. I don't want to say waste. It's almost like, do we take that chance? And then what he's done as a quarterback is almost kind of brushed to the side because of what would happen to him here. You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't know. It's this weird gray area. I agree 100%. I think he is phenomenal. I'm not going to lie and say he isn't. But it's like, if we put him behind this line right now, is everyone going to focus on what would happen then and almost disregard what he's done in the past?
Well, I think part of it too is
not you. You're rational.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Part of it with Aaron Rodgers is he's ruffled a lot of feathers the wrong way based on the way he's handled, the way the whole offseason went with and all that. But one thing is, and I'm looking at the 2022 free agents, and I understand that getting guys like, getting offensive linemen in free agency can be hard, especially to get good quality guys. But I mean, I'm looking.
While you're looking, I want to say something that is not going to be popular opinion. I know. Especially Mike. Mike's going to be mad at me for what I'm about to say. Like I was saying, like we've been spoiled all this time. We haven't had these god awful seasons. I think what happens this season and next season is really going to show you who is a fan of the team, who is a true fan of the team, and who has been a bandwagon fan. I think we're about to see who jumped ship.
I agree.
And it's sad because, and here I'm going to say the thing that is going to get me in so much trouble. As much, and I'm like, Justin, this is no offense to you because we're cool now, we're good. As much as Browns fans get on my nerves right now, you have to admit there are a lot of them that have suffered through some dark periods. Mm-hmm. They have suffered through some sad days. And I wish that they were a little bit more humble now so I could applaud them for them being better now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish it wasn't the loudest ones in the room that you saw all the time.
So me speaking on this, because obviously I live in Cleveland and I'm surrounded by everything and anything Browns on every given day. I can pretty much speak on their behalf on why they're like that. The reason is because, again, they went through a phase where they had arguably the worst head coach of all time in Hugh Jackson. They went 3-36-1 against him, and for crying out loud, they went 0-16. They come back in 1999. They were abysmal. They had one playoff run at that time in 2002 where they lost to Pittsburgh, where they actually, for a lot of older fans, Cleveland actually dominated that first half, and then Pittsburgh came back in the second half and won that game. But then they were just terrible, and they were like, we can finally talk. We can finally say, hey, we're actually not the laughing stock of the NFL. We're not always anything bad. And I agree with what you say because and I think we're going to see this because here and for those that are in Northeast Ohio, the comparison I'm about to say, you'll get this. For those that are not from here, you may not understand. Areas or cities that are right on the right in the smack down middle of between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. A lot of times you'll see those fans lean more towards Pittsburgh because they've been good. They over the course of the last however long, Pittsburgh has been a good quality franchise. They've been one of the top tier franchises, one of the most praised franchises. Now, over the course of the next couple years, say we do go through a 3-4 year span of us not being that good, you're going to start to see some of those fans start to switch over. And obviously, Jay says we're taking applications for all bandwagons. It's finally nice to be able to talk and be able to back it up.
No, I agree with Justin. I agree that my problem is, and you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about, Kirby. Mm-hmm. You know the people that I'm talking about. It's the loudest ones in the room are the most annoying, and they're the ones who haven't been there through those terrible seasons. They're the ones who are just now like, oh no, I've been a Browns fan my whole life, and so now I'm going to be overly obnoxious about being successful. It's like, I get it. You're happy, and I want to be happy for you. But you're making it really hard.
It's when you look at this and holy shit, we might actually go a couple of minutes over. I didn't realize we're already at 6:59, but that's fine. Unless you really want to get off here, then we can end this early.
I'm okay.
Okay. With them you're going to see a lot of bandwagon people, and you saw that as soon as it's because part of it too is in terms of national football side. Yeah, it's a cool thing to be a Browns fan. Yeah. Because right now they're getting talked about. They're talking about you get guys like Myles Garrett who just had a hell of a game. He finally came out of the shed after being terrible the first 2 weeks. You get guys like Baker who they finally have been looking for a quarterback since Bernie Kosar in the 80s, and now it's a cool thing Right now, it's not the cool thing to be a Steeler fan.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm out wearing Steelers stuff, I'll get, someone will always mention just how bleeping terrible we are. This, that, and the third.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they're going to, over exaggerate things in a way, but you're going to see that, and you're going to see a lot of people start to switch over, and you really.
I don't know. I live in Georgia, so the only thing that they have to, go with are being Falcons fans. So they kind of nobody here really says anything.
Yeah, obviously for me, and obviously, like I said, with me being in Cleveland, I get hell every single day from it. Especially on Sundays when something bad goes wrong, like that the Browns playoff game where the 48-37 game, my phone was lighting up like a Christmas tree that whole entire game. Like, I was getting it all night.
It's so strange because there's the joke that I choose violence and I like to cut up and have a good time and everything, but it's so strange to me how volatile people can be. And it's me and Justin butted heads earlier, and there's personal reasons behind that on my own situation. But I'm happy for you. If your team is succeeding and that's your team and you're happy about it and that brightens up your day, good for you. But some of this stuff that I see on Twitter, pointed towards fans, pointed towards players. I told you about that tweet I saw towards Joe Hayden. Some of the stuff I've seen people say to Minkah Fitzpatrick's mom. Some of the stuff I've seen people say to Mr. Sam, that's disgusting. You are a terrible person. And if you act that way, then, you guys just add me in the comment, okay? Because I'm ready to go. There's no need to be that hostile. Just be happy for your team and keep it moving.
Yeah, because, at the end of the day, yes, they are players for teams that you may not like or teams that you do like, but at the end of the day, they're still humans. They still have families and friends. You don't want that.
Exactly. It's not that deep. It's really not.
Right. I agree with that. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Obviously, we went a couple minutes over, but yet again, we were having such a great discussion about last week's game that we didn't even talk about this week's game, which sadly I think we all know what's about to happen unless a magical miracle 8-ball happens. But
you never know though. The sad thing with the Steelers is honestly,
they'll find.
Do we even know? Do we even know?
We don't know. We could get first half of against Buffalo and what the offense we've seen every other game outside of that one drive against Cincinnati, or are we going to get that one drive against Cincinnati and the second half against Buffalo team? We don't know.
Really quick before we do get off, I just want to say, I know you saw the tweets too. A lot of people were saying this can be the team that beat Buffalo. Well, it wasn't because of all our injuries, but all right. Anyways.
Yeah. Marcus says, you will never see this guy switching over. No matter how bad we suck right now, I'll be there.
That's right, Marcus.
You're damn right.
I'm still going to be there in January. I'm still going to watch the game no matter what our record is, because it'll be my first time in Heinz Field.
Yes, sir.
So let's go. Let's get it.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope to see you guys again next Thursday as well, where hopefully Stone will be back on camera.
I will.
You back to actively seeing her face and not just her holding a fish. But also, I've been starting to post a little bit more actual videos on the channel. They've actually been doing decently well, with my reactions. I've had quite a few people text me and say they actually like the way I react to videos or react to the games and stuff. And we'll have to find a way to maybe get all of us to do that as well.
I know, it's honestly so rude that you haven't asked me since I'm so memeable. I just, I don't know why you haven't.
Because I got to figure out how to do it. That's my only thing.
Okay. That's your homework for today is to figure out how to do that.
But we are, at some point, hopefully by the end of the season, we'll figure out how to do that. We're going to have all of us in a video where we react to the previous game. But until then, hope to see you guys again next Thursday. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like this video as well. Share this to everyone that you know. And until then, it's also International Podcast Day. So shout out to all the small podcasts that are out there. Shout out to all the Pretend Media members. And here we go. Have a great weekend. Go Steelers. Peace out.
Bye.